Hey guys, it's Emma Vigling with TYT Politics. I hope that you've recovered adequately from the fiasco at the Oscars. I, for one, am a little disappointed that La La Land did not win Best Picture, but I'm white, so that's kind of part of it. Although I did love Moonlight. And I am also extremely outraged about what happened at the DNC this weekend. Nomi did some fantastic coverage. Go watch those videos. Jordan just went live on Facebook, so our TYT Politics Facebook, share all that stuff. But again, we can't take our eye off the ball with Donald Trump, and he's proposing some outrageous things, so I need to, actually give you the lowdown on what's going on right now. And so he's basically proposing an outrageous military budget despite campaigning on the fact that he was going to be a more isolationist leader. You can't make this stuff up. He has a lot of traditional war hawks in his administration, and although Steve Bannon has kind of vacillated between being an isolationist and also being a war hawkish about the South China Sea, you just can't really trust anything that's coming out of this administration. So here's the latest news of the day about his budget. Sorry, I'm a little stuffy. President Trump will instruct federal agencies on Monday to assemble a budget for the coming fiscal year that includes sharp increases in the Defense Department spending and drastic enough cuts to domestic agencies that he can keep his promise to leave Social Security and Medicare alone, according to 4 senior officials in the administration. And this is why some of this is smart politics. So he can slash all of the federal agencies that he wants and still hurt the poor, hurrah! But he can say that he's not cutting Social Security or Medicare. Obama toyed with the idea and was going to cut Social Security and Medicare if there wasn't a backlash against it, because all he did was just feed into the Republicans because that's what they wanted, and Obama was like, okay, I'll give 10% change and 90% what the Republicans want. Yay, isn't that such a winning strategy? Trump's strong. That's the difference between him and other leaders. And you know what? Like, as much as Obama's a much better human being and a better person, and I agree with him more ideologically, like, Donald Trump is just gonna say, no, this is what I want, and this is how it's gonna get done. And that's what voters respond to. They respond to strength. And they also respond to you not cutting their goddamn Medicare and Social Security. And many voters are just gonna see that and tune out. They're like, good, look, he's doing the right thing, and he's making this country great again, and he's making the military stronger. So that's why, despite what Trump is proposing being, as you will see, not kind of outrageous and not progressive at all, on its surface, it looks like he's actually looking out for the American people, and that's smart politics, and that's something the Democrats have no idea how to do. So, of course, they're horrible at it, throwing bones to stay in power. Trump seems to be mastering it already, even though he's wildly unpopular. So, that pisses me off, because the Democrats should be better at this. But anyway, it's the right thing to do not to cut Social Security and Medicare, but he will be slashing the Affordable Care Act, which affects 20 million people. So that maybe that wound will be enough for the American people to wake up and see that, despite the fact that he's throwing these crumbs at us, he's not actually looking out for us. We'll see. Again, it's smart politics. I'm telling you guys it right now. But let me continue. A day before delivering a high-stakes address on Tuesday to a joint session of Congress, he'll do really well there, Mr. Trump will demand a budget with tens of billions of dollars in reductions to the Environmental Protection Agency and State Department, according to 4 senior administration officials with direct knowledge of the plan. Social safety net programs, aside from the big entitlement programs for retirees, will also be hit hard. Preliminary budget outlines are usually little-notice administrative exercises, the first step in negotiations between the White House and federal agencies that usually shave the sharpest edges off the initial request. But this plan, a product of collaboration between the Office of Management and Budget Director Mick Mulvaney, the National Economic Council Director Gary Cohn, and the White House Chief strategist, Steve K. Bannon, is intended to make a big splash for a president eager to show that he is a man of action. I was proud of that supremacist joke. I hope you guys enjoy my self-congratulatory nature today. A man of action indeed. That's Donald Trump for you. But when it came to war, taking action, going to war himself, I don't know if you recall, he got 4 military deferments. 1, because his foot hurts. The 5th one because his foot hurt. Oh, I'm so sorry that you can't really fit into your sneaker that well because of your bone spur. But, that's what happens for normal people. They have little health problems. But I guess your daddy didn't want you to go to Vietnam. But you have no problem inflating the military budget and potentially sending us to war, which you also campaigned against. Campaigned against that war. And based on his proposal, yes, he may be spending us to war, despite what he said during the election about being isolationist and less interventionist. Here is the details of the money that is going to be put into the military budget. President Trump will propose a federal budget that dramatically increases defense-related spending by $54 billion while cutting virtually all other federal agencies by the same amount, according to an administration official. The proposal represents a massive increase in federal spending related to the national security, while other priorities, especially foreign aid, will see significant reductions. Yeah, fuck the rest of the world. We're not going to help you. We're just going to bloat our defense spending, despite the fact that there has not been foreign terrorist attacks, except since the Boston Marathon bombing. That was also domestic. They lived here since 9/11, really. And the terrorist attacks that we need to worry about are the people that are actually from here. But whatever. According to the White House, the defense budget will increase by 10%. But without providing any specifics, the administration said that the most other discretionary spending programs will be slashed to pay for it, only singling out foreign aid, one of the smallest parts of the federal budget, as a target for large reductions in spending. That is garble for we're going to slash the EPA and any social safety net programs for the poorest Americans. Fantastic. By the way, Trump is talking about $54 billion for defense spending. If you recall, Bernie Sanders' budget for his college education program was $70 billion, which is a little bit more than what Trump is proposing. And that was insane for every Washington insider, including the Democrats. But this is just, how things go. But the difference is that the college education plan wouldn't be lining anyone's pockets, and this seems to be very nice for defense contractors who, I just read, have their stock prices have gone up a little bit this afternoon after Trump made this announcement. Coincidence? We shall see. And you may be saying, well, just because he wants to increase our military budget, that doesn't necessarily mean that he wants to take us to war. Well, this is what he said today. Forgive me for this slow reading of this quote. It is inarticulate, to say the least. When I was young in high school and college, everybody used to say, we never lost a war. Everybody said that. We never lost a war, you remember. Some of you are right there with me, and you remember we never lost a war. America never lost, and now we never win a war. We never win, and we don't fight to win, so we either have got to win or don't fight at all. I mean, this guy is a child and an idiot. An idiot. An idiot. That's how an idiot speaks. Okay. So, not to get off on a tangent, but first of all, we never lost a war. I seem to recall that the war that we lost, the most infamous war that we lost, the Vietnam War, was the same one that you dodged. So maybe in your little world we never lost a war because you didn't fight in it when you were supposed to. Because daddy got you out of it, and you and your rich college got you out of it, and now you're thinking of sending people to war, the same horrific condition that you avoided based on your own privilege. America never lost. The Vietnam War was an epic failure. And now, what are you talking about? When you were in high school and college, you never lost. When you were that age, that was when America began to lose wars. That's like the history of this country, man. But he doesn't even know the differences between the branches of government. Why would I expect him to know anything about the Vietnam War when he was too busy doing blow with hookers or whatever the hell he was doing? So, that is what he's basically saying, that we're going to win wars again. That means that you're going to take us to war, doesn't it? I mean, it doesn't really, you can't take anything he says seriously necessarily, especially when people in his administration have such conflicting ideologies. I have no idea, but what he's saying indicates that he may be sending us to war. And the military budget proposal indicates that as well. So I don't really know what to think, But again, according to Investors Business Daily, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, their stocks all went up after this statement. So it's looking good for them. And you might be thinking, did they donate a lot to Donald Trump's campaign? I have a really interesting caveat for you guys. Which presidential candidate did the defense contractors donate most to? Of course, Hillary Clinton. Number 2, Bernie Sanders. Number 3 was Trump. So I guess they made some calculation that Bernie was more likely to send us to war than Donald Trump. So there's hundreds of thousands of dollars in incentives, yes, but not as much as Bernie or Hillary Clinton. Very interesting development when I looked at Open Secrets. That's based on by industry. So I just want to give you guys all the facts, even if it doesn't fit this exact story. But yeah, I mean, the Trump, we have no idea how much Trump is invested in these companies because, again, he has not released his tax returns, which he needs to, or it's going to create a constitutional crisis even more so than it has already. But listen to how cozy Trump is with these contractors, and then you can make your own determination based on this article from a few weeks ago, or a week ago. In an unorthodox move, President Trump, days before he formally assumed office, allowed Boeing chief executive Dennis Muilenburg to listen on a call with the manager of a key Pentagon fighter jet program, and then President-elect weighed in the government's options for lowering the cost of Lockheed Martin's F-35, which is a fighter jet. Air Force Lieutenant General Chris Bogdan, program manager for the F-35, provided details about the call at a briefing before the House Armed Services Committee Thursday morning. Again, this was a few weeks ago, taking questions from congressional staff members just hours after Bloomberg reported the episode. Boeing and F-35 maker Lockheed Martin declined to comment, but others characterized the call to Bogdan as an inappropriate subversion of the military's ability to determine its own equipment results. So a lot of this was Trump trying to weigh the differences in prices between the Lockheed Martin's F-35 and the Boeing jet, basically trying to make a deal, because that's all he does. So what does that mean? Again, that we are going to war. Trump is obviously cozy with these contractors. Is it just because Trump likes making deals and Trump is so comfortable in this capitalistic deal-making kind of scenario that he doesn't see that maybe you should be consulting the military first before you go directly to the executives at Boeing? Who knows? What I do know is that Trump is going to go where the wind blows and where he can make a deal. And what I do know is that he is going to increase this military budget when he announces this tomorrow. So, all signs point to war, despite the fact that he campaigned against it. And, you know, the rhetoric of Steve Bannon, despite his history being more isolationist, has been troubling about China. And teaming up with Russia, no matter what you think about these Russia ties, Russia and China have diametrically opposed belief systems, and not belief systems, but diametrically opposed goals. So teaming up with Russia spells bad things for aggression with China, and Bannon, who has the ear of Donald Trump, seems to indicate that there will be some confrontation, even if it's not military. And then you have all of these war hawks, the traditional war hawks from the Bush administration, that are in Trump's administration. So yeah, some people may say, you know, Hillary was worse on a number of issues, and if you were going to talk basically on rhetoric in the election, Hillary was worse on war and had a worse history on war and was more of a war hawk. But is that the reality that's going to play out? Trump is inflating our military budget. So, he could be the exact same. That's the thing. When you don't have any principles, it's hard to pin it down, and all you have to do is follow the money. And right now, $54 billion is being allocated to the military budget at the expense of the poorest Americans. That's the reality. So judge what you will, and we will see. I hate you, Trump. Have a great day, guys.